Hey YouTube. So it is another day on the farm. I am out here with my dehydrator and my colander full of garlic scapes that I chopped up. I roughly chopped them into 1.5 inch pieces or so, and I'm getting them packed into the dehydrator. I read that you should set it for 135 degrees Fahrenheit for about 24 hours is what it takes for this size of pieces to be brittle enough, and then I plan to grind them up in the blender or food processor. I'm not sure which one yet. And then we will have garlic scape powder, which can be used just like garlic powder, which we're really excited about. I also left some frozen to make into garlic scape butter, and then if there's anything left, I'll do some garlic scape pesto as well, which is what we did last year with the ones that we purchased. But these are all homegrown from our garlic this year, which we're super excited about. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and finish filling this. I already have a few trays started, and we love this dehydrator. We got this from Cabela's a couple years ago. It's just such a large piece that we use often for so many things. Usually we use it for dehydrating chicken feet after we do our chicken butchering, and then we use those for dog treats for the Great Pyrenees that we have. But today it's going to be for garlic scapes, and then I will show you what it looks like when I get those blended up. And garlic scapes are the flowering head of the hardneck variety of garlic. We do the music variety this year, and they grow a really long scape, and it produces a flower if you don't cut it off. You want to cut them off so that they can put all of their focus into growing a bigger bulb. If you don't cut them off, they'll focus on flowering, which is the seed part of the plant, and then you'll end up getting a smaller harvest of bulbs. So just be a smaller garlic bulb. You can still use them. It's just nicer if you can cut the scape and use that for other culinary purposes. I did also dice up pretty finely some garlic scapes to use just for sauteing purposes. So I chop them up and put them in a freezer bag, and I can just pull those out and add them to whatever I'm cooking to use the same as you would garlic. Okay, we're all set. I'm gonna get that going, and then I'm gonna head out to the garden so I can finish weeding one of my rows. I already got it most of the way done, but I need to finish working on that. See you later. So we've had a pretty eventful week, and I haven't really gotten outside a whole lot. Our Jersey girl finally had her calf. She had a beautiful heifer, which we were so excited about. I know I definitely was. We were praying for a girl. And I really was just like, she's not gonna give us a girl, I know it. Luckily she did. So anyways, she had her calf on Thursday, June 22nd. The dogs are out here with me. I'm out in the garden. On Thursday, June 22nd, she had her calf, and luckily I had trekked back and forth out to the woods where she decided to calve a few times throughout the day because I saw her water bag and knew it was coming. And one of the times that I went out to check on her, she was already laying down with the feet out. 2 minutes later, she had the baby. So that was super exciting, and I'm so glad that I got to witness it. I did get to record it a little bit. I was kind of nervous, so the filming that I got of it wasn't perfect, but I did capture the birth, and that was exciting. However, the following day, she didn't really want to get up and started acting a little off. And I know this is our first time with a cow, so I was worried about milk fever and mastitis and all of the things that could go wrong with your first cow or any cow whatsoever. And so Eli and I worked for a few hours to try to get her up to the barn so that we could keep an eye on her and give her calcium and things like that. And so I gave her IV calcium, worried about milk fever, and it partially ended up being that the vet was able to get out on Monday or Tuesday this week. So it was about 4 days. She didn't eat. I had to force feed her and she just wasn't looking good. And we gave her IV calcium a few times, some CMPK gel, and it just kind of kept her going. She was drinking, getting up to feed her calf beautifully, which was awesome, but she still wasn't eating, and that was really scary. So the vet came out and he was worried that it was a phosphorus imbalance, which was also in part with the milk fever, with the low calcium. So he took a blood sample and then gave her some injections for the phosphorus imbalance and said that we would notice within 24 hours if she was getting up more, which we did. She was up the next day, she was eating, and it was amazing because she hadn't eaten in so long, and I was really getting worried that we were gonna lose her. So I ended up calling him and he said that her calcium and phosphorus were both really low, and to finish giving the rest of the stuff that he had left for us to give to her. And she's been fine ever since then, and eating and just back to her normal self, which has been amazing. An amazing blessing, because I was so scared. I know Eli was too. Her baby is absolutely gorgeous. We decided to name her Maggie after my grandmother because we lost her the same day that Maggie was born. So we named her Maggie after my grandmother, and she's just been frolicking and jumping and playing, and it's just been a sight to see new life on the farm. So we were super excited about that. However, we also happened to get rain finally after 2 months without rain. And so I didn't really get to enjoy the rain that we got. We got a huge downpour right in the middle of when Dolly was sick. And so we didn't really get to celebrate that too much because we were worried about them being stuck out in the rain the entire time. Thankfully, she got up and came inside after it rained for a few minutes out there pretty hard. And anyways, the garden is thriving a lot more now that we have rain. It looks beautiful. However, there's lots of weeds. I can show you just how explosive this garden has gotten since we got the rain. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see. Okay, so we haven't come through to mow because we haven't needed to mow in such a really long time. These are the tomato plants. We plan to put T-posts all throughout the center of them. These are all tomatoes right here. Even the ones that were looking poorly are finally thriving. I came through and pruned these, I swear, like 3 days ago, and they're already gigantic again. They're just really bushing out, and I'm so grateful for this rain because they were looking pretty sad. Even though we were watering with the drip irrigation, they still just weren't doing as good as they would with that natural rain. So I already came through and pruned these, but obviously I have a lot more to do now. We need to put T-posts throughout the entire row, and then I have the simple like fish netting type of stuff that we weave them up through. So I'm just gonna, well, hopefully we'll get that in soon and can start trellising them up. The dogs are out here with me. The garlic is looking great. I just came through and weeded it as much as I could just to get the weeds out of the center of them. I came through yesterday and the day before. There's still quite a few little weeds that are just really growing now that we had that rain. There's a cool little, I don't know if you can see it on camera. There's a spider web. What are you two doing? And then we had our first sunflower bloom over here. This is the sunflower and potato bed. I went around and hilled up all these potatoes, and then my pesky chickens came in and undid all my work. So I'm just kind of like, whatever at this point. They're starting to flower, These ones have flowers on them. I'm hoping that we get some sort of harvest. But with all of the stuff that's been happening over the last week, I'm just kind of over it. But all these beautiful sunflower blossoms are starting to pop up, and I'm so excited. These were all volunteers from last year because this is where our sunflower patch was. And they just look really awesome. Usually we get super tall ones that are taller than us, but we're happy with these. And that was our first blossom this year. It's so beautiful. And then this I have to start weeding right now while my baby's asleep. This is the cabbage and sunflower volunteer row that you can't even tell is a row. It's just this massive area of weeds that I have to go through and pull out today. But the cabbage are actually growing pretty well where they are growing. They're getting a little bit bigger. There's some that are further down the row that are actually quite large already. And then my sad cauliflower and broccoli row. There actually are some heads of broccoli that are growing. If I can get over there. Some of them just went to seed. They're flowering, and I don't care. It's okay. But yeah, there's some heads that are growing that I can come through and collect soon just so that we can freeze some that didn't bolt like these, but I'll leave them. They're pretty. And then these are some of the cabbages that are doing pretty well down here. I just have to get through and really weed. On the other side of these sunflower and potatoes are all these, all of our squash plants, zucchini, pumpkins. They're doing really good. I've been coming through and trying to weed as much as I can. I did not label what anything is that I put out here. I think I was at the point of planting where I was just like trying to get stuff in while Fern sleeps. And anyways, they're looking pretty good, getting big. So some of the garlic also, I didn't get down here. I just realized when I was weeding that the irrigation drip line stops right there. And I was noticing that these garlic on the end were already ready to harvest because so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 dead leaves here. And usually you can harvest them at 3 dead leaves. Like this one also goes up to 4. So yeah, these ones on the end are puny, and I already pulled about 4 or 5 of them out at the very end because I was kind of worried, and then I realized that the drip line stops over there, so these just were not getting any water whatsoever. The heads are really small, and that's okay. We'll still use them. But those ones down there are looking really big, and I'm super excited for those. This is the music variety, and I remember when I was planting them that the bulbs filled my whole hand. They're so massive. And we came through and pulled all of the garlic scapes off this last week. I pickled 3 quarts of them just to see how those will taste. And then I plan to dehydrate a bunch of them also. And I know Eli wants to try some garlic scape butter. And then I also do usually make some garlic scape pesto, so we'll see if I could get to that as well. Okay, so this is like a week later. I had dehydrated a bunch of these garlic scapes that I had chopped up, and some of them were still bendy, like this one. And so it took quite a while to get them dehydrated enough to where they would snap when I tried to bend them, which means that they are ready to be processed into powder. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. We had a busy few days. We went camping, and if you go camping, you know that you have to prepare, clean, and pack, and do all of that fun stuff. So that took up majority of my time instead of doing this last week. So now that we are back, I'm gonna blend these up. So I finished blending up all those scapes. It was so loud when I did that. I was not prepared for how loud that was gonna be. And both my children were eating, and the older one was so freaked out by how loud it was that I had to put his noise canceling headphones on him. So just beware that it's very loud grinding those up. But I ended up getting half of a quart bag of the Scape powder. There are still some bigger chunks in there. I'm totally fine with that. And then some is powder. So I went ahead and just put this in a bag and marked what it was, and I'm gonna put it in my spice cabinet, but I'm excited to use this in some future recipes. And I will let you know when I do use them and what I use it in to see if there's a significant flavor from tasting them through the dish. But that's all for today's video. I'm gonna go ahead and get this uploaded and work on a couple of other ones. I know Eli had filmed some stuff, so I'm gonna go ahead and get his edited and get those out for y'all. Thanks for watching. See you next time.